I rang her and she told me that she'd been speaking to her ex again behind my back and wanted to go back to being with him.
Let's talk about something that confuses a lot of good men and embarrasses a lot of women. Why would a woman leave a good man, one that's peaceful, and go back to a toxic ex? Is she crazy? Does she love and trauma? Does she not appreciate good men? Or is something deeper going on? Today we're unpacking the psychology, trauma bonds, ego, chemistry, and the addiction to chaos. And ladies, we're going to be honest, because sometimes the truth isn't cute.
This is going to be a long video of me just venting, but I felt like I had to get it off my chest. So I met this girl on a dating app a few months ago. She was great. We shared the same interests. We spent about a week talking on the app before moving to Instagram instead. Talking to her was great because we gelled so well, and I've always struggled just being myself when it comes to dating. She told me she had recently broken up with her ex because he was treating her poorly. So we spent a few weeks just playing games together, talking on call, and eventually I asked her if she wanted to go on a date. She said yes, which made me very happy because I always struggle with anxiety and the likes. But anyway, I had planned the date to be sushi at a nice place, but it turned out she lived about 45 minutes away and she doesn't drive. So instead of going out to sushi, she asked if I just want to come over and we can watch a movie or a series, which I was keen to do because I'm very much a homebody myself. So I drive over to her house and we end up having a great time chatting, watching Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I ordered us food on Uber Eats because we're both really super introverted and kind of felt like a quiet night just watching stuff. But anyway, after the date night, I asked if she would be interested in dating for real. And she said yes, which I thought was pretty crazy because she was pretty much everything I was looking for in a girl. And I'd been looking for a long time. So a few weeks pass and I pick her up from work often so she doesn't have to catch the bus, even though it's about a 40-minute drive, but I was happy to do it. We're talking over text every day, and I'm just, liking her more and more. We go on a few more dates and she mentions to me that she really likes doing art and wishes she had an iPad to do hobby art on. And as it happens, I had an iPad Pro that I had barely ever used. It was actually out of charge. And so I offered to let her have it so she could practice on it. I still remember how excited she was when I rocked up to her house with that. Eventually, she asked if I would like to make it official, and she said yes, which just made me the happiest guy on earth. I started buying a lot more gifts and paying for her stuff because, I wanted to make her happy, but also because gift giving is it's an important love language for me. I want my girlfriend to feel supported both emotionally and financially. Around Christmas, though, she went interstate to visit a family for the holidays, and everything seemed fine. She was just texting, miss you and all that, until a couple days after Christmas. I woke up to say good morning, as I usually do, and saw that she had blocked me. Now, I wasn't freaking out just yet, because this had happened before because her ex had access to her account until she changed her password early into our relationship. But I tried to call her and my call didn't go through either. I texted her and eventually I got a response a little later saying, I just want to break up. And I was freaking out because everything was going so well and nothing made me suspicious, that something had gone wrong or anything like that. I rang her and she told me that she'd been speaking to her ex again behind my back and wanted to go back to being with him. And obviously I was devastated, especially after hearing how poorly he had treated her from her mouth. She said I could come pick up the iPad as an apology, which didn't really cut an apology, but I was going to pick it up anyway. But what I was really upset was that she was asking me to buy her stuff while doing this behind my back, which, you know, is just kind of cruel, to be honest. So I text her asking if I can pick up the iPad on a Saturday. She says, I'm not home. So then I ask her, okay, when can I come and pick it up? And I'm blocked next minute. I haven't heard anything in about 2 weeks now. So yeah, that's just my rant. Let me know if you think I'm just a fool, because that's what it feels like, but I never know. I always feel unlucky when it comes to...
First, let's define a good man. When I say good man, I don't mean perfect. I mean he's consistent, doesn't cheat, communicates, provides emotional safety, is not abusive, and wants commitment. He may not be flashy, he may not be toxic, he may not give you butterflies every 10 seconds, but he's safe. Now here's the problem. For some women, safe feels boring, and that's where the issue begins. Trauma bonds feel like love. A lot of women who go back to toxic exes are not going back to him, they're going back to the trauma bond. Trauma bonds that are created through the highest highs, lowest lows, breakups, makeups, emotional roller coasters, and all that stuff. He hurts you and then he apologizes, love bombs, disappears, comes back. Your brain starts confusing chaos with passion. That toxic ex triggers adrenaline, cortisol, dopamine, but the good man only triggers peace. And if you grew up in dysfunction, peace feels unfamiliar, and unfamiliar feels unsafe. So you run back to what your nervous system recognizes, even if it destroys you. Sometimes the toxic ex had insane chemistry. The arguments were explosive, the makeup sessions were intense, maybe even the sex was passionate. It felt like a good movie. While the good man, he's compatible, he's healthy, he's steady, but chemistry isn't compatibility. Chemistry can exist in toxic environments. Compatibility builds stable futures. A lot of women chase chemistry over compatibility and then in the end call it love. Toxic men are often emotionally unavailable. When you eventually do win him back, it feels like I'm the one he chose. I fixed him. He changed for me. It feeds the ego. You didn't win the prize. You re-entered the cycle. And some women would rather fight for attention than receive unconditional stability, because stability doesn't stroke ego the same way chaos does. Women don't fall in love with who toxic men are. They fall in love with who they could be. He has potential. He just needs healing. He just needs the right woman. You're not in love with him. You're in love with the project. Meanwhile, the good man in front of you, he already is what you claim you want, but he doesn't need fixing. And unfortunately, some women feel more needed when they're fixing someone. Healthy love requires vulnerability. Healthy love requires accountability. Healthy love requires emotional maturity. With a toxic ex, you can blame him for everything, while with a good man, if the relationship fails, you have to look at yourself, and that scares some people, because peace means you can't hide behind chaos. If a woman grew up watching unstable relationships, seeing cheating normalized, seeing disrespect tolerated, experiencing abandonment, then toxicity feels normal. A good man feels foreign, and people tend to choose what feels familiar, even if it hurts. It's about unhealed trauma. Sometimes it's simple. She never emotionally let go. You can be physically present with a good man, but emotionally still attached to an ex. And when that ex calls at 2 a.m., old emotions wake up. Unresolved feelings resurface. Closure matters. And some women jump into good relationships without healing from a bad one. And that's unfair to the good person you're with. We've been sold this lie: if it's real, it should feel intense. Movies show passion. They don't show therapy. They don't show calm evenings. They don't show boring consistency. Healthy relationships often start slower. They build. They don't explode. But many women mistake stability for lack of a spark, and then run back to the fireworks, even though the fireworks burn out fast. And sometimes she doesn't believe she deserves a good man. When a good man treats her well, she starts thinking subconsciously, this won't last. He'll leave. I'm not enough. So she sabotages it and goes back to someone who confirms her insecurities because dysfunction feels aligned with her self-image, and that's painful. Now let's talk about the good man. If she left you for her toxic ex, please understand, it wasn't about you lacking. It was about her unhealed wounds. You can't compete with someone's trauma bond. You cannot outlove someone's addiction to chaos. And chasing her back will only damage your dignity. Let her go. A healed woman will recognize your value, and a woman that's not healed will always mistake peace for boredom. And ladies, let's be honest. If you keep going back to toxic men, ask yourself, what am I addicted to? What am I avoiding? What feels uncomfortable about peace? Because the right man may not give you anxiety. And calm isn't boring. Calm is safe. Calm is stable. Calm is where families grow. Leaving a good man for a toxic ex isn't about logic. It's about unresolved trauma, emotional addiction, ego validation, fear of vulnerability, and low self-esteem. Until those wounds are healed, the cycle is going to keep repeating itself. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you tolerate, and you return to what you haven't healed from. So if you've ever gone back to a toxic ex, let me know down in the comment section below. I promise we're not going to judge. We're growing here. And if you're a good man who got left, let me know down in the comment section below too, and we can talk about it. Because healing conversations create healthier relationships. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. And while you're down there, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss an upload. And I'll see you in the next one.